warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine bright. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow.
Take the message, everybody.
Take warning. You better take warning.
All right. Hey, guess what? Good morning. And let's get straight down to business. What is happening in Guyana? A lot of you are concerned about the corruption, rampant corruption, lots of things. And don't be confused as to what is happening. Do not be confused. Barrett, Jagdeo, and the PPP, they are not concerned about wiping out or weeding out corruption, whether in the Guyana police force or whether in the corrupt PPP regime. That is the installed PPP regime. They are not concerned about that at all. And while we are at it, there's a question that I want to ask. And again, good morning to all of you. I'm not sure where you guys are, but kindly share the link as we reveal some developing and very interesting stories to you this morning. Very interesting stories. We don't want you to have Jagdeo or the likes of Jagdeo or Irfan Ali or those guys try to hoodwink you guys on what's really happening in the country at this time. And so what exactly is happening? What exactly, that's the question, what exactly is happening? Many of you, of course, have been paying attention to the Brutus saga. It's basically Brutus versus Jagdeo. That is what this is about. Brutus versus Jagdeo. Brutus hurt Jagdeo's feelings, and Jagdeo is personally going after Brutus. We have seen this on numerous occasions. If Jagdeo doesn't get what he wants, it raises his bumps. And so the situation with Brutus, I repeat, has nothing to do with corruption. Of course, the question marks with regards to large deposits into Brutus's account, his wife's account, and so forth, well, the court will deal with that. And in my opinion, major question marks there. So don't get me wrong. But this whole situation about what is in Brutus's account has nothing to do with Jagdeo wanting to stamp out corruption, or that Jagdeo is intolerant when it comes to corruption. He's the last person on earth who shows such intolerance, when in fact he's the grand master of corruption in Guyana. He is the grand master of not only corruption in Guyana, in the region, and in the entire South America. And notice Anil Nandalal is talking about Brutus, and that Brutus will go down in a history, blah, blah, blah. Come on, he's not going to tell you that he, or maybe others within the PPP regime, including Bara Jagdeo, and all these people may go down in history, but they're focusing on Brutus. Now, Brutus got his battle. He's going to have to fight his battle. But again, I'm saying to you guys that this is more than Brutus. Oops, sweater. Good morning. You can't blame me for a sweater, right? So this is more than just about Brutus. And I continue to say this to you guys. I don't want you guys to lose focus and to think that this is all about Brutus. Now, if Brutus has committed a crime, we should not condone it. Let him face, if he has to go in Cam Street and do the time and sit down and eat pan top, let him go. But that's not the issue at hand. I am trying to say to you guys that the situation with Brutus, it's more than just Brutus. It's a widespread corruption that has been going on in the Guyana police force, with links to corrupt members of the PPP regime, allegedly including Bara Jagdeo. This man, Jagdeo, as long as he cannot get his hands on piece of the pie, he will find all sort of ways and means to go after you. And this situation here with Brutus is a perfect example of Jagdeo going after Brutus by any and every means necessary. I don't know how many of you agree with me on that, but I'd like for you guys to trust me on this one. Trust me on this one here. It's a personal thing. Now, Brutus is just one of many more to come. I repeat, Brutus is just one of many more to come. If you notice what is happening now, they are focusing now on the director of prisons, Elliott. They're focusing on Elliott now with some $40 million corruption, $40 million corruption at the Guyana Prison Service. Elliott, 40 million. And now 40 million is chump change to Jagdeo and Anil and Irfan. It's chump change. It's one night they was poured that out at Palm Court or some other club. One hall, and they was poured that out. Look at the talking about New Guyana Pharmaceutical Corporation, 46 million, and all these things. And look who they're targeting. They've now moved to the head of the Guyana Prison Service, which means that they want the director of prisons, more likely they want him removed. And I want you guys to read between the lines. Now, Elliott has been a darling to the installed Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben. He has been a darling for them. That is why, as director of prisons, they removed Samuels. If you guys, Gladwin Samuels, he was the director of prisons. They didn't like Samuels. They thought that Samuels was too connected. That's their perception, was too connected to the PNC because of his maybe his relatives out in Bartica and so forth and so on. So when they got installed in 2020, guess what they did? They removed, they kicked Samuels out, and they put their darling boy, Elliot, with not much experience. And so, because Elliot joined the force back in 2000 and maybe early 2000, I should know. And I know Elliot. And so Elliot doesn't have that sort of experience. But because he is a favorite of Robeson Ben, and it has nothing to do with Elliot's family being PNC or whatever, but Elliot's closeness to Robeson Ben got him into the fold of things. And so they trusted him and they got him on board. But with this recent revelation now of allegations of corruption, even in the prison service now, right? It means that Elliot may have to go on leave pending the outcome of the investigations. But here is where it is different. Elliot will have to go on leave, but I bet Anil or none of them will call for Elliot to resign. But they're calling on Brutus to resign, and that Brutus has to go. And now look at what is happening. Brutus and others in the Guyana police force are being targeted at this point in time. They are being targeted at this point in time. Read between the lines. Read between the lines, guys. And that is why, I repeat, that is why this whole thing, we should not be blinded. We should not be blinded. We should not be blinded by what is happening with Brutus. We should not be blinded. Absolutely, we should not be blinded. And I notice Norman Brung is on with us. Good afternoon, Mr. Brung. It's afternoon in the UK. Norman Brung has a point and is just reminding you guys that, hey, the police and DPP did nothing about Sugate. That's correct, Mr. Brung. Absolutely nothing about Sugate. Is Jagdeo above scrutiny when it comes to corruption? That's the question. Nothing about Sugate. And so he ignored Sugate. He wants us to believe that there is no corruption and that he shines. He's an honorable man and he's above board. When Jagdeo is said to be the most corrupt individual in Guyana, he's going to rant and rave this afternoon and behave as though he's all holy. Jagdeo is said to be the most corrupt individual in Guyana. He has, according to information, his hands in every single corrupt pot in Guyana. He wiggled out of Sue. The investigation was quite clear. The evidence was clear. Sue admitted that he rented a property from Jagdeo. Sue has also admitted not only that he rented a property from Jagdeo, that he deposited monies into Jagdeo's account. And the question is, which account and how much? I mean, I spoke with Sue. I interviewed Sue. Sue has admitted, yes, he knows Jagdeo. He lives a stone throw away there from Jagdeo. He rented a house from Jagdeo. He paid Jagdeo 1-point-something million Guyana dollars a month. That's according to Sue. But where did he deposit the money? Was the money deposited in a Guyanese or a Guyana bank account or a bank account in China? Let Jagdeo show you this. Let him show you. We need to see that. So the chump change, and I repeat, the chump change, 500 million Guyana dollars is chump change. Again, if Brutus did anything wrong, let him face the heat. And if he did the crime, let him do the time. That is not what this is about. And this is not to defend Brutus. No. not me. However, all I want to do is to open y'all eyes, to say to you guys, open y'all eyes. There's a huge conspiracy that's happening. And sometimes people become what is called collateral damage or damages. In this case, Brutus is the target. Brutus is the target to cover up a bigger scheme of corruption within the Guyana police force and the government, the installed government of Guyana. That is what this is about. And we've got to get to the bottom of all of this. And so last night I heard somebody say, Ben Chab and his feelings, Brutus and I aren't friends. And I repeat, sensible people would understand. If Brutus got to go to jail, let him go along his way. I'll probably give him a few tips and pant up on how to cover up and hide up and thing and don't make anything happen. I may give him a few tips on that. But that is besides the point with this guy, Brutus. All of us are not that naive enough or gullible to think that it is Brutus. And Jagdeo suddenly is so concerned about corruption. They're targeting Brutus because Brutus apparently 500 million, he got too rich for them. And Brutus shouldn't be the one getting rich. People who should be getting rich is like Silal Prasad, Jagdeo, Irfan Ali, Zulfikar Mustafa, Priya Manik Chan. Those are the ones who should be getting rich, not Brutus, not the guy who, Elliot, who heads the prison service, not those guys, Brutus. Brutus mustn't get rich. And $500 for Jagdeo, a guy who is probably, what he is, shouldn't get rich. And so we'll get back to that shortly, though. We'll get back. I just want you guys to open your eyes and understand, as the Rastaman would say, overstand what is happening. Overstand what is happening, guys. This is more than just Brutus. Now, here what's happening. Here what happened. And Cloud's 592 is correct. How dare Brutus to get rich? That is according to Jagdeo. How dare Brutus should get rich, right? Only Jagdeo should get rich. And if you're going to get little crumbs in the bank account, Jagdeo has to tell you how much and he has to control it. And if he can't control his man, he's going to go after his men them. And that's exactly what he has done to Brutus. He is going after Brutus. He's going to go after others. He has already said, he has made it clear that he has files on Brutus. It's a message that he has files on others. He's probably saying to Hicken that they have files on you, Hicken. Meanwhile, Jagdeo has to tell people, or he has to understand that there are others who have files on him. You, Jagdeo, there are people who have files on you.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su. My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
Su. He doesn't want us to hear about Su. But I'm sure others outside of Guyana have already have a big file about him and Su. Not only him and Su, him and others. Now let's head back to Brutus. The embattled Brutus. Brutus walked out last night. You saw the calmness of that guy. It's like Brutus, whatever it is, I did everything above board, and okay, Brutus. The court will find that out. We are not here to argue your case, but have you guys been wondering why is it that Robeson Ben is quiet at this time? Why? He is the relevant minister. The question is, why is Robeson Ben, the installed minister, so quiet? Why? Anil is running his mouth. And by the way, Anil's name is calling in this whole saga, and maybe other saga as well. So we'll leave Anil out, at least for now. But Ben, Robeson Ben, is the relevant minister. His name is being featured, according to what I heard. In this whole saga, his name is being featured. But yet he has been so quiet on this matter. Is it that he doesn't approve with what is happening with Brutus? Hence his reason for being quiet? And can Robeson Ben say whether it is Jagdeo who directed his office in order not to grant Brutus and his wife vacation outside of Guyana, leave outside of Guyana? Certainly, Robeson Ben's permanent secretary can't be the person so powerful to say no to an assistant commissioner of police. Certainly, Robeson Ben's permanent secretary does not have that power. And so to deny Brutus and his wife leave outside of Guyana came directly from Jagdeo or Irfan Ali. And that's exactly what happened. Irfan Ali and Jagdeo believe that Brutus venturing outside of Guyana would be possibly the last time that he, Brutus, would be in Guyana. And so Jagdeo started to get nervous, he started to get panicky, and he stamped his authority and told Ben that Brutus should not leave the jurisdiction. And that's exactly what is happening. I noticed someone is saying that Hickens' hands are tied. Like, yeah, exactly. So you have a minister, an installed minister of Home Affairs. His hands are tied, like tied, handcuffed, like that madman. Hickens' hands tied, Brutus' hands tied, the director of prison's hands are tied, and look at whose hands are tied. Take a look. Are you guys reading between the lines? Are you guys really reading between the lines, guys? Now let's talk about bumps being raised. I'm not sure if Joseph Hamilton will issue a statement or has already issued a statement. It is being reported that this big saga, this big controversy started with ministers, so-called ministers, installed ministers of the PPP regime were part and parcel of this big questionable scheme, along with Brutus. Ministers and their family members have businesses and companies. Some of those companies are not registered directly by the ministers, but they have control. And some of them put their relatives, some of them put their close friends, and they earn millions upon millions of dollars, the same way Brutus did. Many of them, ministers, ministers of the PPP regime. So it's a lot of things. This is a massive corrupt scheme, so to speak, that involved ministers, that is set to involve, it has the involvement, of Jagdeo, Irfan Ali, Robeson Ben. Hicken is aware of these things as well. So this whole situation is bigger than just Brutus. Brutus is just being the target guy because he didn't do what most of those ministers wanted him to do. And we're hearing allegations of, especially allegations with a company that is set to be connected to Joe Hamilton, some Shondell Fresh Produce. Allegations and upon allegations will shock some of you, and will shock some of you as to who got involved in the same hundreds of millions of dollars scheme. Lots of things will shock you guys. So don't worry with Jagdeo when he says he got the files on somebody, files and it. Don't worry about that. It's a massive corrupt scheme that was going on. And the fall guy for this is Brutus. But we are being told that ministers and their relatives and so forth are also part and parcel of the scheme. Lots of things are being said about what really transpired. Lots of things, Jagdeo. And so when Jagdeo comes out and pretends as though he's fighting corruption and he's against corruption and so forth and so on, that is not the case, guys. That is not the case. I'm going to read some of your comments as well, because I want to involve you guys, even if it's for another few minutes. I don't intend to be on for a long time. And okay, so let us, Andrea D is asking a question. When is Hicken going to be commissioned or confirmed? Hicken is going to be confirmed as the substantive commissioner of police when Jagdeo, or if Jagdeo signs off on it. And it appears as though Jagdeo doesn't really want to sign off on it. And so it is right there, a standstill. Another showdown between Jagdeo and Irfan Ali. Their preference is that Hicken stays on after elections. And after elections, then he will be replaced if they are installed again. Hopefully not, because they can't win an elections outright. And so their next man that is lined up for the job is Budram. And that's exactly what is happening now. So they're starting to target certain individuals who do not play the game for them, who may have played the game for them before, but stop playing the game for them. And so Jagdeo wants them out of the force. Brutus is the first. There are two others who are being targeted even as we speak. And so the more you refuse these individuals and you target them, you remove them, and you put guys like Budram and so forth up the ladder, those who Jagdeo and Irfan are more comfortable with. And those who can go and make 10 times more than what Brutus is accused of depositing into his bank accounts. Remember Silal Prasad. Silal Prasad had started a company while he was still the commissioner of police. Y'all remember that, right? Y'all remember? All right, let me just remind you guys. Dear Mr. Prasad, this was 2018. While he was still the commissioner of police, Silal Prasad, the commissioner of police, wrote a letter to himself. And the letter says, Dear Mr. Prasad, I refer to your, well, let's go to the other letter. This letter is addressed to application for firearm dealer's license, professional outdoor supplies, Mr. Silal Prasad, DSM. And so this is Silal Prasad, a sitting commissioner of police, is writing a letter to himself. Dear sir, I refer to your application in relation to the above subject and wish to inform you that approval is granted for your guys, this is not funny, right? Again, check this out. Silal Prasad started up a company, decides, and the company that he started up is a dealer's license, a gun license, gun dealership, and so forth. And Silal Prasad wrote a letter to himself. Dear sir, same person, one person. Dear sir, I refer to your application in relation to the above subject and wish to inform you. So he's informing himself that approval is granted for your business professional outdoor supplies to become a registered firearms dealer. Jagdeo had no problem with this. Anil Nandalal had no problem with this. None of them in the PPP had no problem with this at all. because this to them is not corruption. This to them is not conflict of interest. All because why? Maybe because it's Silal Prasad? That this is not seen as a form of corruption? That this is not seen as a obvious conflict of interest? So here is what's happening here now. Let me continue with this here. Please make, he is saying to himself now in this letter, Silal, the then sitting commissioner of police, is responding to himself. Please make contact with the assistant commissioner law enforcement at the Criminal Investigations Department headquarters in connection with the issuing of the license. So now Silal is saying to himself that, hey, Mr. Silal, right? Same Silal talking to himself. Please make contact with us. So Silal, the Commissioner of Police, is advising Silal, the Commissioner of Police, to make contact with an Assistant Commissioner of Police. So when Silal now, the Commissioner of Police, makes contact with this assistant, well, he just approved his license, you know. He just approved it. I don't know, guys. I don't know what is happening in that country. And look, this is it. You are advised, Silal is advising himself, to ensure that there is adequate means of security for the firearms when they are not in use. If you neglect to proceed expeditiously to obtain, so in other words, he's saying to himself, run quickly, we just approved this thing. But if you don't proceed expeditiously to obtain the necessary licenses within 1 year, then you may be deemed denied. Same if the conditions under which you were granted this approval have changed. What kind of thing is this? And then y'all focusing on Brutus. Yeah, fair enough, focus on Brutus. But Jagdeo wants us to believe that Brutus is the only bad guy in the Guyana police force. The only bad guy might be one of many. And so Jagdeo wants you guys to just believe that Brutus is the only quote-unquote corrupt senior police officer, when there are numerous. Let's take, for example, you guys recall that Caesar, the man who is part of the criminal investigation unit there at the Guyana Police Force headquarters, he was allegedly pulled in for fitness by U.S. law enforcement officers, not to ask him to read some scripture from the Bible, not to ask him to read some book from maybe the Quran, a page from the Quran or a page from the Bhagavad Gita. No. They didn't pull him in for that. They didn't pull him in to sing some nursery rhyme or some chutney. Sonna come le we go by we not gonna nanny no gonna know. Sonna come le we go, y'all you nanny no. No, not to sing chutney or to sing some sort of reggae or something, or to give them a little thing like Vibes Cartel. Oh, no. He was pulled in for serious fitness as a result of serious allegations of corruption. And let me ask this question here to all of you. Why nothing has happened to Caesar? Why no local investigations about Caesar? Why they didn't ask Caesar to go on leave so that they can do an internal investigation? Why? Ask yourselves why. If Jagdeo and the CorruPPP, if they are so serious about corruption, it shows that they're not serious. And so Caesar, regardless of what he was pulled in for by U.S. law enforcement agencies and questioned, Jagdeo doesn't care. Caesar is still there. And instead of saying that there will be an internal investigations, guess what? Jagdeo says when Caesar returned, he will speak to Caesar. He will ask Caesar what they asked him. And that was it. That's the end. Caesar is back on the job. Why do you think Caesar is back on the job? You think he's back on the job because Jagdeo loves him? And I'm almost certain if you check Caesar's bank account right now, sorry about that. I am almost certain that if you check Caesar's bank account right now, it could possibly make whatever Brutus has in his bank account chump change. Allegations that these senior ranks have properties across the country, expensive properties, expensive vehicles, lavish lifestyle that they're living there in Guyana, but yet they are supposed to be surviving on their monthly salary. That's all. You think the monthly salary could make a senior police officer drive a brand new BMW or Audi or whatever? You think with a salary, a brand new, you think with the salary of a police officer, they could afford $100 million property, a $65 million property? You think so? You guys need to wake up, guys. You guys need to wake up. And not only Caesar, you know. Remember, there was a commander that was implicated recently, based on allegations, implicated in a cocaine bust out in Region 1, I believe, was it? That commander, there was no internal investigations. No internal investigations. Instead, the commander was removed, brought back to Georgetown, and placed in another location and continue business as usual. No known internal investigations. None whatsoever. No known internal investigations. Absolutely none. And this is what some of you believe, that Jagdeo is serious about rooting out corruption? You really think that is what it is all about? It is not about that. Absolutely not about that at all. It is not about rooting out corruption. It is a vindictive and spiteful move against Brutus. That is what it's about. Why hasn't he gone after Caesar? Why hasn't he gone after the commander? Why hasn't he gone after the other commander that allegedly obstructed justice with Dharamlal's situation, and allegations that that commander, allegations, mind you, attempted to pay off the alleged victim and so forth and so on. Those matters were all swept under the rug. There was no investigations in these sort of things. You think it's just a matter of coincidence that, oh, they don't want no investigations? You think so? Why do you think when Henry Green, a sitting commissioner of police, was charged with rape while he was commissioner, and they rushed quickly to the court so that the then acting Chief Justice Ian Chang could work up his poison, work up his miracle, and the charge was no more? And he continued as commissioner of police, and Jagdeo was comfortable with him. Anil and all of them were comfortable with Henry Green. And speaking of Henry Green, y'all think the money what Brutus got in his account is real, is enough money? Y'all should have seen where Henry Green probably died and left. And some people are questioning whether the accident, the reason for the accident. Some people are questioning that. So the corruption, the point is the corruption in the Guyana police force is rampant. It's not just about Brutus. If Brutus committed any crime, let him do the time. Let him face the tune. But the selective way of doing things has become pretty obvious to all of you. Obvious to all of you. Looks as though I'm in some problems this morning. The Greens are after me. Sherwin Green is saying, leave Mr. Green out of this one. Good morning to Sherwin. Now, back to this whole situation. This is a big conspiracy in Guyana. Guyana, the government, the so-called government of Guyana, the regime, the PPP regime that was installed, because they didn't win any elections. And on some other time we'll talk about that, but you guys know that they didn't win the elections. They rigged the elections while some of them in the coalition fell asleep at the wheel. Some fell asleep and allowed Jagdeo and the PPP, based on the man in the streets perception, mind you, that they rigged the elections. And as a result of the coalition realizing afterwards what happened, realized that exactly that the elections were rigged, and then the people outside decided, no, we don't want the coalition back. We're going to install the PPP. And that's exactly what happened. The PPP was installed. But folks, the corruption is rampant in the Guyana police force. So let us talk a little bit about Anil. Anil says that Brutus will be removed. This matter is still under investigations. And any removal of Brutus is not done by the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office has no say in this matter, none whatsoever. It is a matter for the police force and the Police Service Commission. The chairman of the Police Service Commission, the fact that Anil Nandalal has injected himself into this, it is called interference of an ongoing investigation by the Attorney General's office. And the question is now, why is Anil Nandalal so concerned about this matter? Why is he so concerned? Is there an interest? Does he have an interest in this matter and possibly to see the back of Brutus? Is he afraid that Brutus may have some things to say about Anil, some things to say about Irfan Ali, some things to say about Jagdeo and others, that they are just closing in? They don't care about conflict of interest. They don't care what they say publicly. And what Anil, as the attorney, the installed Attorney General, has done in any other jurisdiction, he would have been asked to resign from his position. All he needs to say is that this is an active investigation. Let those guys at the Special Organized Crime Unit do their job, and if they come at the point that they should take disciplinary action, it is not the Attorney General's office that does that. Disciplinary action should be done at the highest level of the Guyana Police Force. And in this case, the Police Service Commission will have to deal with any disciplinary action against Brutus, even to be removed from the force. That is the job of the Police Service Commission, not the Attorney General's chambers. And so this is a blatant form of interference in an active investigation. And what Jagdeo and Anil Nandalal are doing is they're inserting themselves and they are trying Brutus' case in public domain. Not only trying Brutus' case, they are pulling a rope out there to hang Brutus publicly. And the reason and why is it that they're doing that? It means that they have something to hide. Why in the middle of an active investigation, Jagdeo pushes himself out there publicly to say, no. I want you guys to know that we have files on Brutus. What's the relevance other than to intimidate Brutus? And not only to intimidate Brutus, to intimidate other members of the Guyana Police Force, to say if they dare step out of line, that he, Jagdeo, and the PPP have files on them. Anil steps in with the same thing, the threatening and the intimidation and so forth. is calling publicly now in the midst of an investigation. It has not been completed, but Anil knows that Brutus should be removed from his position. So he's saying publicly, Brutus will be removed. Will be removed. He didn't say there will be an investigation and the Police Service Commission will make that final determination. No. Anil Nandalal has already said it. Brutus will be removed. Story done. What is that, a dictatorship? That because the installed attorney general says that Brutus must be removed, then let him be removed? There were serious allegations leveled against Anil Nandalal, and nobody says that he should be removed. Of course, there were calls for him to be to resign, and some who were calling for him to be resigned, one in particular, was slaughtered, was murdered. Courtney Crummy-Wing was murdered. When Courtney Crummy-Wing was calling for the removal of Anil Nandalal. Others were calling for the removal of Anil Nandalal. Beatrice Selby, as we remain focused. We are dealing with issues here and facts that are known. I'm not dealing with emotions. This is not about emotions. This is about law. This is about what is right. This is about what is fair and what is transparent. All the time, these guys are interfering with the process. They are interfering with investigations. It is said that Jagdeo is known to have, based on information, interfered with active criminal investigations. But we're not going to deal with that now, right? So I just want Jagdeo and Anil and these guys to know that when Jagdeo could go publicly and say that he has files on Brutus, a subtle message to other senior officers, including the man whose hand is tied, that's Hicken, including Brutus and Hickens and others. I just want to say that it's scare tactics. And what they're doing is basically, is not only intimidating Brutus, they are putting Brutus's life and his family's life in danger at this point in time. And so this may be a green light to those in the underworld that they should send their killers. Some of those killers are being protected by Jagdeo. I repeat, some of those killers are being protected by Jagdeo and Irfan Ali. Some of those killers in society are being protected by Jagdeo and Irfan Ali. And so, in essence, what they're doing is hootsing their dogs after Brutus. And Brutus is right when he said that he's fearful for his life and that of his family at this point in time. Because as Irfan said at the funeral services of the Henry boys, that he will leave no stone unturned to ensure justice is done for the Henry boys and their families. To this day, no justice. The stone is still there. And so the point I'm making is what Jagdeo and Anil and these folks are saying by their interferences is that they will leave no stone unturned when it comes to going after Brutus by whatever means necessary. And so when they say these things publicly, what do you think happens? The goons of the PPP would step in and feel that they are carrying out the orders of the likes of a Jagdeo. They feel that they're doing a service to Jagdeo were they to go and harm Brutus and his family. And so because of how the PPP operates and because of the mindset of Bharat Jagdeo and others in the PPP regime, don't be surprised if you hear what you hear. That is how they operate. I repeat, don't be surprised if you hear what you hear. So Don't be surprised at all. So Calvin Brutus barred by court from leaving the country. Now, we got to understand, and at least I respect the decision of the Honorable Justice Gino Prasad, because he was able to review the evidence in front of him. And based on the evidence, according to Soku, 240 charges were recommended. And so the court made a decision based on the evidence of those charges presented. Now, there wasn't a trial. The judge didn't say, yes, Brutus was guilty or not guilty or whatever. The judge made a decision based on the amount of charges leveled against the senior cop. He didn't weigh in on evidence and whether Brutus is guilty or not. However, the reason why they denied, not the court, because it is Brutus who went to the court seeking redress. It is the Ministry of Home Affairs, permanent secretary. Of course, she doesn't have that power. He doesn't have that power to do that. It came from high up in the political realm. And so Jagdeo or Irfan Ali are the ones, or it could be both of them, who made that decision that Brutus is not going to leave the country. Let me see if you guys understand why they were so, and still they are, afraid of Brutus leaving the country. Jagdeo is afraid of Brutus leaving the country. I noticed Ingrid Downey said, another Indian judge. Let's not go there. Justice Gino Prasad has been one of the fairest and fearless judges in Guyana. Remember, he held Irfan Ali accountable. He said that Irfan Ali violated the Constitution. Irfan Ali should have been in jail. Which judge in Guyana will be so brave to rule against one of those dictators as Justice Gino Prasad did? Against Irfan Ali. So, oh man, y'all don't come with another Indian judge. Y'all don't do me that this morning, man. Add some respect to Justice Gino's name. And don't let his name fool you guys. He is one of the fairest judges they have in Guyana right now. And because of that, guess what they're doing to people like Justice Gino Prasad? They have him there acting. While they're rushing to confirm Hikian as Commissioner of Police, they don't want to confirm judges like Gino Prasad. So Gino Prasad is still acting. The Chief Justice is still acting. 2 years ago, they were all anxious. Irfan Ali was anxious. Oh, let us come on and confirm them quickly. Anil, they were all anxious. They wanted to confirm the acting Chief Justice. They wanted to confirm the acting Chancellor. And Aubrey Norton, the leader of the opposition, I have no problem. Confirm them. It's okay. You have my permission. And they needed consultation according to the Constitution. They needed consultation with the leader of the opposition. The leader of the opposition put his hands up and said, I have no problem with the two of them. You got my permission. Since then, guess what? Not a word about whether they will confirm the acting Chief Justice and the acting Chancellor of the Judiciary. And y'all know why they don't want to confirm them, right? It could be one thing. It could be that they want to confirm one and they don't want to confirm the other. So in order for it not to look that bad, they're holding out for now. But they have their own folks in line. Maybe they want to take the DPP and put the DPP as the Chief Justice. And they want to make Mr. Prasad, Rishi Prasad, Justice Prasad, the Chancellor of the Judiciary. But I'm hearing a name of Sanjeev Dattadin. Y'all know Sanjeev, right? Anil's good friend. We're hearing the name of Sanjeev. So maybe they want to take Sanjeev and make him the Chief Justice. Maybe, because according to the Constitution, you have to have 7+ years of legal experience. But then again, the PPP is notorious for not following the Constitution, because when Kar Singh was appointed Chief Justice, or acting Chief Justice, he didn't get at that time, he didn't have the 7 years experience as is required. And so they moved ahead and they appointed him as the acting Chief Justice. So the point is they don't listen to the Constitution. And so that is what's happening. It's a corrupt game that's being played. And if you members of the public don't read between the lines, y'all will be caught. Y'all will get the impression that, yeah, boy, the PPP is trying. No, they're not trying. They're trying to cover up their corruption, and they're trying to make sure that people are in place that will protect them. That is what they are all about. It is not about good governance. It's not about transparency. It's not about democracy. It's about kleptocracy, corruption upon corruption upon corruption. That is what they do. They're filling their pockets. Some of them who were basically hungry belly just the other day, low lives just the other day, as Jagdeo loves to use that word, and his sidekick loves to use low lives. Check on the quarantine. Some of them used to eat roti and butter, beer butter. Mind you, that's good sometimes. Or bake with nothing on it. Mind you, that is also good sometimes, especially when it's now hot. You know, break it. But go on the quarantine and see the ones who are filthy rich right now. They used to catch fine cockabelly fish, or they just used to eat black pudding without sour on it. Now, check them out on the quarantine, and you'll know who they are connected to. Just go around the country, and you will see what is happening. The ministers, their friends, and families are all rich as of today. Compliments of you, the hard-working taxpayers of Guyana. And many of them are stealing. Many of them are bypassing the procurement board and all these things. Some of them got five, six companies in one little house. 5-6 companies. And they're reaping hundreds of millions of dollars. But now they want you guys to focus on Brutus. Brutus alone is the corrupt individual in the Guyana police force, according to them. Now they move from Brutus and they've gone to Elliot. They're circulating something that Elliot and some missing or corruption with 40 million, all sort of things you're seeing now. You think these information is they're being leaked by coincidentally, that they just leaked just like there's a reason why these things are being leaked. There is a reason. Now Elliot got to fight his own battle, just like Brutus got to fight his own battle as well. But I just want you guys to read between the lines. I'm not saying that about Elliot because he closed doors, the dungeon door on me a couple of times, you know. And neither was I surprised that he became so close to Robeson Ben. Now, if Robeson Ben is his godfather, so to speak, let Robeson Ben save him. Let Robeson Ben save him, right? And y'all know who Elliot is related to on all side of it. Y'all gonna know soon. But again, let me check some of your comments before it's getting late, right? And I just came on for a couple of minutes. Somebody said they like roti and butter. Yeah, we all like roti and butter, man. Oh man, yeah. I love roti and butter. Hot roti and butter. Hot roti and butter. That's true. So there's nothing against hot roti and butter or beer bake. Speaking of that, they had a guy on the quarantine days where they used to call it beer bake, right by Alnis turn. Beer bake. All right, so I'm reading some of your comments. They could make, bake, look, give me. Look, let me start say who could make bake or who can make a. Elias, how you like that? Anybody could make bake. Anybody could make roti. I guess some family up at Epsom and Eversham, they're supposed to know how to make bake, maybe, because of how they look, but they can't make bake. But they make darn good roti, though. So, let me don't go that route, but they could make bake and they could look. Oh, man, oh. Elias just come with them kind of things to say. And now John C. Paul gone with sugar roti and roti with that chart. Y'all not easy. Vashti, how you doing? How are you doing, Vashti Magnat and all of you guys? So y'all get the picture, right? Y'all get the picture what's going on. Massive corruption in Guyana. Massive corruption in Guyana. And so it's just a matter of time before lots more information. So I don't want you guys to get too cush. I don't want you guys to get too cushy. At this moment, lots and lots of information. All right, this is last night. They swooped down the SWAT team and at Brutus's house, well, the apartment in the police compound. And how many of you guys knew that a search warrant should have the officer or officers' names to search your premises? You saw what Brutus did last night, right? According to Brutus, he asked, "Can I see the search warrant?" They have an obligation, every right to show you the search warrant. If they don't have a search warrant, then they cannot enter your premises. But what Brutus said was, look, he asked for the search warrant. They showed him, and he said, okay, I'm going to comply with the search warrant. But the search warrant says this person's whose name is on it should search the premises. And in this case, the senior superintendent, Singh, he says, you can go in and search my premises. You can go in and search my apartment, because by law, Brutus did the right thing. You can't have a search warrant with one person's name on it and 10, 12, 14, 15 police officers go into your property. That is not how it's done. In the US, it is different. But in Guyana, if you have a legitimate search warrant, it should list the names of the officer. Okay? Officer Tom, Officer Joe, Officer Jennifer, Officer Beatrice, Officer Raquel. Okay, you guys are allowed to go in because your names are on the search warrant. You guys got to know your law. Well, by the way, Jillian Solomon, he is a lawyer. He is a lawyer. He was admitted to the bar. And when he was admitted to the bar on this day, guess who was there with him? The very man that is investigating, office is investigating him. And it is said that this very person, Kareem Bach, is taking instructions from Barrett Jagdeo. It is said that this very guy, Kareem Bach, has received phone calls from Barrett Jagdeo instructing him whether to charge persons or not to charge persons. That is what is being alleged. Of course, Kareem Bach is going to say he's independent, his office is independent. Yeah, give us a break. Of course, the same thing that Hicken is going to say, but quietly Hicken is saying to people that his hands are tied. His hands are tied. His hands are tied. But before we go, Jagdeo should know that there are police officers, senior police officers, who have files on him. And not only those senior police officers. Now, I'm not sure about what Brutus has on them or not. I am not sure. I don't know. But I can speak in general that they are senior police officers who have files on Jagdeo. And they are senior police officers who have files on Irfan Ali. And they are senior police officers who have files. Lots and lots of files. Now, I don't know what Brutus has, but whatever he has, Brutus should not sit on the information. And maybe that is why Irfan Ali and Jagdeo were afraid of Brutus leaving the jurisdiction. Hence, they blocked him. Read between the lines, guys. This is more than just Brutus. And if Brutus has committed a crime with all of the deposits and so forth, and when you compare the deposits with his bank account, we heard what he got, 50-something million for a wedding. We heard that Hicken got some check for $8.6 or so million for his wedding from a businessman. We need to know who's that businessman. We need to know who's that businessman that paid the acting commissioner of police, gave the acting commissioner of police for something to do with Brutus's wedding. We need to know these things. What are we gonna? We need to know who that businessman is, or so-called businessman. We need to know what is the connection. And when I get off here, I'm going to play some nice Bob Marley. I hear in the background somebody saying, "I shot the sheriff." We need to know these things, and especially who is that businessman that gave Brutus or paid for part of Brutus's wedding. 50-something million as gift for a wedding might seem as a lot, but compared to what Irfan got and all these other guys got, Brutus got chump change. Chump change. It is said that people give Irfan fancy vehicles and all manner of things. But yet those things were acceptable, right? For a man who was installed as president of a country to receive lump sum gifts of vehicles and millions, according to the allegations, millions upon millions of dollars, right? It was okay for Jagdeo to allegedly receive gifts with containers upon containers were shipped in from China and other places to build this so-called mansion at Pradoville too, right? It was okay. Those gifts, those things were okay, right? And it is okay for these ministers and all of them to have in excess of 500 million, some of them billions of Guyana dollars in their bank accounts and properties all across the country and lands upon lands. It is okay, right? It is acceptable, right? It's not conflict of interest. It's not corruption. No. According to them, it's not, right? Y'all wake up, read between the lines. Read between the lines. But when Brutus goes to court, based on the evidence, if he did the crime, he will have to do the time. But read between the lines, guys. Read between the lines. That's all I wish to say at this point in time. Read between the lines. Jagdeo and Irfan, they have a lot to hide. And they know they have a lot to lose. And so they're going to play the game, and they're going to play dangerous games. It has just begun. Expect the worst. And while you sit and expect the worst, pray for Guyana, guys. It's in the wrong hands of people. The wrong hands. A bunch of corrupt vagabonds are running Guyana right now. And it's a sad situation. I'm out of here now. I'll be back tonight, right here on 107.1 FM with my guest, Thomas Anderson. So long.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, he is a friend.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours a blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%. Yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public face. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up. You done fed up. He done fed up. She done fed up. We done fed up. The people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fear in the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up. You done fed up. He done fed up. She done fed up. We done fed up. The people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes.
Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow.
Take the message, everybody.
Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning.